Tonight, nearly 3 months after a sergeant was killed on I-40 in the East Mountains, charges have been filed against the truck driver who hit him.
And we have followed the story from the start. February 23rd, BCSO Sergeant Michael Schlattman was killed during a traffic stop near the Carnwell exit on westbound I-40. A week later, March 2nd, Schlattman was laid to rest on what would have been his 53rd birthday. May 13th, investigators complete their case, finding probable cause for charges, and submit their findings to the Bernalillo County DA. Miguel Perez of Florida now charged with careless driving and violating New Mexico's move over law. Sheriff Allen says they still feel the pain of losing Schlattman.
His loss is big. I mean, 2 months, 8 months, 12 months, it's still going to hurt. And our whole agency is still dealing with the pain of losing it. Schlotty was very close to many people.
Today, the sheriff says he doesn't believe the charges go far enough.
Aaliyah Chavez joins us now. And Aaliyah, he is now turning his focus to how to prevent this from happening again.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Sheriff Allen says changes need to be made not only to better protect law enforcement, but also to protect tow truck drivers, maintenance crews, and even everyday people dealing with the flat tire or perhaps another roadside emergency.
Everybody calls this an accident. It's not an accident. It's a careless driving that was involved in coincides with a crash.
Charges have been filed in connection to the crash that killed BCSO Sergeant Michael Schlattman. Investigators say in February, Schlattman was conducting a traffic stop along I-40 in the East Mountains. He was walking back toward his patrol unit when a semi-truck slammed into his SUV, pushing it into him, killing him. The driver, Miguel Orlando Perez, now charged with careless driving and violating New Mexico's move over law. It requires drivers to move over for first responders, tow truck drivers, and anyone stopped on the shoulder.
Here at Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office, we're smaller and we're a family, so anybody that we lose, it hits hard for a while. I've been through this multiple times.
Investigators found Perez was traveling about 64 miles per hour and never braked before impact. They found no mechanical issues with either vehicle. Instead, investigators point to sun glare, the patrol unit's position, and driver inattention as contributing factors.
But when you look at something that's a careless driving and there is a loss of life and family and other people are struggling because of you're at fault for careless driving. No, I don't think it's fair at all.
Court records show Perez lives in Florida and holds the highest level of commercial driver's license. The charges he faces are misdemeanors. Earlier this month, District Attorney Sam Bregman told KUAT prosecutors would only file charges they believe are true.
We have a very open mind when we look at these things, and we want to hold people accountable, but we don't bring charges that we can't prove.
They still have the possibility of a civil lawsuit against the driver and the company that he was working for, and that's certainly a possibility. But based on what the investigation found, there will be no felony charges.
In the wake of Schlattman's death, BCSO launched Operation Schlotty, targeting drivers who violate the move over law. Since March, deputies have cited 67 drivers, but Allen says enforcement alone is not enough.
Really, how do we prevent this from happening again? And if it does happen again, is it fair and are the charges appropriate? I don't feel that they are.
Allen says he has not yet spoken with Schlattman's family, including his fiancée, since the charges were filed, but says their concerns are shared by many.
But look, that's what was charged. That's what the law says. That's what the charges are. It's going to be left up to a judge now whether they find him guilty to begin with.
We've tried all day to find a contact for Perez to get his side of the story. It appears he'll be given a public defender, but right now hasn't been assigned one.
And Aaliyah, Perez, of course, is innocent until proven guilty, but what are the consequences if he was convicted?
Right. A first-time careless driving charge carries a $300 fine and up to 90 days in jail. Meanwhile, a move over law violation carries a $50 fine.
Did the sheriff talk at all about the danger on that stretch of road?
Yeah, he did. Take a look at what he had to say.
What I would like to see is road designs as far as larger shoulders for everybody to utilize, because yes, in Carnwell, it's very dangerous as people are going through, and it's not a safety corridor anymore, but with the curves and not paying attention, other contributing factors, sun, visors, cars in the roadway, debris in the roadway. In the Carnwell, it's been deadly in that area for a long time.
The sheriff said he would consider advocating for these changes at the legislature next year. Reporting, I'm Aaliyah Chavez, KUAT Action 7 News.
Perez is due in court next month. The Rio Rancho Police Department led the crash investigation to avoid a conflict of interest.